I've summed up my 5 takeaways and thoughts about this book in this video. I highly recommend you to read the original book of the author. Please share with me your opinion about this book in the comments below. The Predator's Ball is a gripping and detailed account of the rise and fall of one of the most notorious and influential figures in Wall Street history, Michael Milken. Written by journalist Connie Bruck, the book offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of high finance in the 1980s, a time when mergers and acquisitions were on the rise and greed was rampant. The book follows Milken's ascent from a relatively unknown employee at Drexel Burnham Lambert, a second-tier investment bank, to becoming one of the most powerful and wealthy men on Wall Street. Milken was known for his innovative financial techniques, particularly the use of junk bonds to finance takeovers, which helped him to amass a fortune and transform Drexel into a major player in the investment banking world. Bruck delves deep into Milken's personal and professional life, exploring his relationships with colleagues, clients, and even politicians. She describes how Milken cultivated a network of loyal followers who were willing to do almost anything to advance his interests, including engaging in illegal insider trading and other unethical practices. But as Milken's power grew, so did the scrutiny of the authorities. The book documents the government's investigation into Milken's activities, culminating in his indictment on charges of securities fraud and racketeering. Bruck portrays Milken as a complex figure, at once a visionary innovator and a ruthless predator, whose downfall marked the end of an era of excess and greed on Wall Street. One of the strengths of The Predator's Ball is Bruck's ability to weave together the many different threads of this complex story, drawing on a wide range of sources to create a vivid and compelling narrative. She also provides insightful analysis of the broader social and economic context in which these events took place, helping readers to understand the significance of Milken's rise and fall for the financial industry and society as a whole. Overall, The Predator's Ball is a must-read for anyone interested in the history of Wall Street and the culture of high finance in the 1980s. Bruck's engaging writing style and meticulous research make this book a page-turner, even for those who are not experts in the field. Whether you are a finance professional or simply a curious reader, you will find plenty to fascinate and intrigue you in this insightful and compelling work. Point 1 from The Predator's Ball highlights Michael Milken's rise to power as a visionary innovator who transformed Drexel Burnham Lambert into a major player on Wall Street through the use of innovative financial techniques, particularly junk bonds. Junk bonds were high-yield, high-risk securities that had traditionally been viewed as too risky for most investors. However, Milken saw an opportunity to use these bonds to finance takeovers and other corporate transactions that would otherwise have been impossible. By using junk bonds to finance these deals, Milken was able to provide companies with access to the capital they needed to grow and expand, while also earning huge profits for himself and Drexel. Milken's success with junk bonds was due in part to his ability to identify undervalued companies with strong growth potential. He was also able to build a network of investors who were willing to invest in these risky securities in exchange for the promise of high returns. Milken's use of junk bonds was controversial, and many critics saw it as a dangerous and destabilizing force in the financial industry. However, Milken defended his use of these bonds as a way to promote innovation and growth in the economy. Overall, Milken's use of junk bonds was a major factor in his rise to power and the transformation of Drexel Burnham Lambert into a major player on Wall Street. While the use of these securities was controversial, it also helped to fuel the economic growth and expansion of the 1980s. Point 2 from The Predator's Ball highlights how Michael Milken was able to cultivate a network of loyal followers who were willing to engage in unethical and sometimes illegal practices to advance his interests. Milken was known for his charisma and his ability to inspire loyalty among his colleagues and clients. He built a network of followers who were fiercely loyal to him and who were willing to do almost anything to advance his interests. This included engaging in insider trading, stock manipulation, and other illegal practices that helped to drive up the price of Drexel stocks and earn huge profits for Milken and his clients. Milken was also known for his use of aggressive tactics to maintain his power and control. He was willing to take risks that others in the industry were not, and he was not afraid to go to great lengths to protect his interests. This often put him at odds with regulators and other industry players, who saw him as a dangerous and destabilizing force in the financial world. Despite the risks and controversies surrounding Milken's activities, many of his followers remained loyal to him until the end. They saw him as a visionary leader, who was willing to take risks and push the boundaries of what was possible in the financial industry. Overall, Milken's ability to cultivate a network of loyal followers was a major factor in his rise to power and in the success of Drexel Burnham Lambert during the 1980s. However, it also contributed to the culture of greed and excess that characterized the financial industry during this era, and ultimately led to Milken's downfall. Point 3 from The Predator's Ball highlights how the culture of greed and excess that characterized the financial industry in the 1980s ultimately led to Michael Milken's downfall. As Milken's power and influence grew, so did the scrutiny of regulators and law enforcement agencies. Milken and his colleagues were accused of engaging in a variety of illegal and unethical practices, including insider trading, stock manipulation, and fraud. In 1989, Milken was indicted on charges of securities fraud and racketeering, and was eventually sentenced to 10 years in prison. The investigation into Milken's activities was a turning point in the financial industry, and marked the end of an era of excess and greed on Wall Street. Many of the practices that had been commonplace during the 1980s, including the use of junk bonds and other risky financial instruments, came under increased scrutiny, and regulators began to crack down on the kind of insider trading and other illegal practices that had been rampant during this period. The downfall of Michael Milken and the broader culture of greed and excess that he embodied had a lasting impact on the financial industry and society as a whole. It led to a greater awareness of the risks and dangers of unregulated capitalism, and contributed to a renewed focus on corporate responsibility and accountability. Overall, the story of Michael Milken's downfall is a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked greed and ambition. While his innovations and successes in the financial industry were impressive, they ultimately came at a high cost, both to himself and to society as a whole. Point 4 from The Predator's Ball highlights how the book provides a detailed account of the government's investigation into Michael Milken's activities, as well as the broader social and economic context in which these events took place. The investigation into Milken's activities was a major event in the financial industry and had far-reaching implications for the economy as a whole. The book provides a detailed account of the investigation, including the various tactics and strategies used by regulators and law enforcement agencies to gather evidence and build their case against Milken. In addition to the investigation itself, the book also explores the broader social and economic context in which these events took place. It highlights the growing economic inequality of the 1980s, as well as the deregulatory policies of the Reagan administration that contributed to the rise of the financial industry and the culture of greed and excess that characterized this era. The book also examines the role of politics in the financial industry, including the close relationship between Milken and politicians such as President Ronald Reagan and Senator Alphonse D'Amato. It highlights how this relationship helped to shield Milken from scrutiny and contributed to the culture of impunity that prevailed on Wall Street during this era. Overall, the book provides a comprehensive and nuanced account of the events that led to Michael Milken's downfall and the broader social and economic context in which they took place. It offers a valuable perspective on the risks and dangers of unregulated capitalism and the importance of corporate responsibility and accountability in maintaining a healthy and sustainable economy. Point 5 from The Predator's Ball highlights how the book offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of high finance in the 1980s, highlighting both the innovations and excesses of this era and their lasting impact on the financial industry and society as a whole. The book provides a detailed and engaging account of the people, events, and trends that shaped the financial industry during this period. It explores the rise of the financial industry and the culture of greed and excess that characterized this era, as well as the innovations and successes that helped to drive economic growth and expansion. One of the strengths of the book is its ability to place these events in their broader social and economic context, highlighting the broader implications of these developments for society as a whole. It offers a valuable perspective on the risks and dangers of unregulated capitalism, and the importance of corporate responsibility and accountability in maintaining a healthy and sustainable economy. The book also provides a detailed portrait of Michael Milken, one of the most influential and controversial figures in the financial industry during the 1980s. Milken's rise to power and eventual downfall serve as a microcosm of the broader developments and trends that characterize this era, and offer a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked greed and ambition. Overall, The Predator's Ball is a fascinating and insightful work that offers a wealth of information and perspective on the financial industry and society during the 1980s. It is a must-read for anyone interested in understanding the roots of the financial crisis of the late 2000s and the ongoing challenges facing the financial industry today. Thank you for your interest in this book. Please leave your feedback on these thoughts in the comments below, or just put a like on this video. It will help me stay motivated and make more videos like this. In the description of this video, you may find links where you can purchase this book.